Welcome back to another episode of Built for Legacy. I am your host, Suheyl Hernandez, and today I have the pleasure of being here with this lovely young man, Joel Opizo, a young man that I admire very much. And like I would like to say, he's very young. However, he's accomplished a lot. And this is for all these young men and young ladies out there that have a bright future ahead of you. And sometimes you feel that you can't do it. So I want him to talk a little bit about him and what he's doing and what he's working on. So I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be on the podcast. Thank you for such the kind introduction. My name's Joel, 24 years old. I believe what moved me at a young age is being a first generation kid here. Parents, mom being from Nicaragua, dad being Cuban. They just had an opportunity to come here, build their life, had me. I had two older brothers that I also saw them kind of go through the struggles as a first generation, trying to really find their place here. I'm grateful to be born in Miami. The weather's great. And I believe that's kind of what pushed me. I mean, seeing my mom and dad work hard to get here and then seeing my brothers' success, pros and cons, what they did, what they didn't do, and kind of take all of that into my life and kind of structure how I wanted to and, go from there.
No, that's a nice introduction, and I'm also grateful to have been born here in Miami, and also come from parents that worked very hard, and I've seen all the struggles, so I feel you on that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I know that you've had like a lot of positions, you've done a lot of things. Tell me a little bit about high school. How was high school?
High school is interesting. I mean, I can't say I was always the best in school, but I was very passionate about playing basketball, which helped me build a lot of discipline, helped me become coachable, and also just adaptable into certain situations with different coaches, different styles. Having to wake up early, having to stay late, kind of maintaining all of that through. It helped me a lot with structure, helped me a lot with be holding myself accountable, being a leader to my teammates, showing up every day. School wasn't always my thing, but I went to school to play basketball, and that's kind of what high school looked like. It didn't work out.
Yeah, that's fine. That doesn't matter. But that's nice because I always, in my coaching and the people that I mentor, I always talk about that. I always talk about how the structure and the discipline is what leads you to the right places at the right times and helps you get to where you want to be and helps you achieve the things that you want to achieve. So after leaving high school, did you think about going to college? How was that?
Uh, I mean, maybe some thoughts, off the gates. My brother went to the military. There was some consideration of going to the military, but I kind of wanted to choose a different route. Some of my first gen cousins went to college, but at a young age, I kind of knew if it wasn't for basketball, I wasn't going to go to college for the education part unless I wanted to become a lawyer, doctor. I did some criminal justice, but it didn't stick through. It wasn't something that I was passionate about, and that's something that I'm very strong on. I believe sometimes you just have to keep failing until you find out what you're passionate about. So college wasn't the first thing on my mind. I went off the gates just working. I started off at Floor Decor, and it was an interesting first position for sure. Kind of felt like a grown man job in a way as a first job, but worked my way through it. And, basketball kind of helped in a funny way because as a young dude there, you surround yourself with a lot of older gentlemen that maybe been there for a while, but you come off the gate as a leader, right? And that's one thing that no matter your age, the way you present yourself to others builds respect. And at a young age, 6 months into the company, 18 years old, running one of the largest departments in South Florida, got promoted very quickly. And it kind of helped me there, kind of navigate, taught me the value of money also because you're surrounding yourself with people that are a lot older than you, that have kids, that have a mortgage, that pay rent. And I'm just 18 years old, and all I had was hunger, right? And I believe that's what helped me also in kind of my first job.
Hunger. It's a good one. Hunger. When you have hunger, you can go after anything. When you're ambitious, when you're hungry, when you want. And I think that that's what sometimes people lack, right? Like they have no hunger, they're okay with settling it. Hey, that's okay too. If that's your personality and that's the way you want to be. But for like young entrepreneurs, I was an entrepreneur at a very young age as well. And that's what I always had. I had that drive, I had that hunger in me. So that's why we get along so well, I think. You see?
It's true. And one thing that I heard was, since you brought up college, I didn't get a degree, but I had one thing, and it was a PhD. But not for what you think it stands for. I was poor, hungry, and desperate. And that's really what helped me strive. That's really what helped me get up every single day. And that's the scary person that you can meet. Somebody that's poor, hungry, and desperate because they're willing to do whatever they want in order to get to their goals, right? Somebody that's complacent will never be somebody that's hungry, that's desperate for every opportunity because they realize opportunities come and go, right? And you have to take advantage of any opportunity that's given to you and make the most out of it.
You're right. And wow, you touched me there. I had to hold myself not to get teared eyed, right? You touched me there. I'd actually never heard that.
Yeah, it was one of my mentors told me that at a young age. You never want to compete with somebody that's poor, hungry, and desperate because a dog that's eating a lot might be complacent with, you know, what they have. A dog that hasn't eaten in a couple of days will eat whatever, and they're really willing to go ahead and get their get theirs.
I know that after, just because I know a little bit, I don't know a lot about your story because we've talked, but we've never really like digged in. I try not to question too much, but I know that after, I know you left there, and I believe you went to AT&T, and I want you to tell them a little bit about that because, guys, this young man, he's a hustler. He really is.
Yeah. After Floor Decor, I was in a moment in Floor Decor where I feel like I hit a peak, a plateau. And that's the worst position to be in when you're complacent and you're hitting a wall and you can't push forward. So what I did is funny. It's a funny story. I was at Floor Decor and there was a lot of arguing back and forth between, but I saw it gets to a point in the corporate world where you're young and you want more opportunity, but they feel like your time isn't there. And I got tired of somebody telling me that you're not ready, you're not capable yet, you have to wait a couple of years. And it kind of frustrated of somebody putting a ceiling on me when I knew I was built for more. So I I took a day off. I did an interview at a company and it was AT&T, but it was bigger than AT&T. It was gentlemen that were hungry, that were entrepreneurs, that weren't paid a salary, that weren't paid an hourly, but you had to go every day and do sales. And the hardest job is sales, but also the highest paying. The second highest paying job, business owner would be number one because your income is unlimited. But it was sales, and I never done face to face sales where I knew there wasn't a guarantee. And the best part about it is that they preached self development, and that was something that changed my life. That's where everything kind of changed. I walked in and they preached self development. They preached how you're after your 9 to 5, where you do your 5 to 10 is what changes your life, and just kind of going out there and understanding that there was no guarantee. So AT&T was definitely interesting. The company was MTN, which was make them notice. It stood for make them notice, and that's what we had to do every day. We had to make them notice. Whether that's when I started to realize that money is just something that you put a number on. But you go out there and no one should dictate whether you made whether you work $17 an hour, $20 an hour, $30 an hour. What you did on your day to day actions what got you paid, and that's kind of one of the most interesting jobs I've had for sure.
I know you were young, but you were out there. You were going. Yeah. I believe you told me you left Florida and then you worked somewhere else. And I bring that up because I admire it. You know.
Yeah, and they flew you out a couple of times. Once sales is how you got paid, but how you got noticed was walking in with a fire every single day. It's hard to walk in at 9 in the morning and be like, I'm ready to talk to 150 people to sell a product that everybody knows, loves, hates, whatever your relationship is with AT&T. But it was a lot bigger than that. I was motivating a group of people to see your vision. And that's sometimes the hardest thing that you can do because life can beat you down in different ways. But once you get everybody on the same boat and the same, wave, it's different. And energy comes in vibrations. The way you speak comes in vibration. Your words are a dart. And, people listen to maybe 20% of what you said, but 80% of how you said it and how you made them feel. And that was one thing that I learned. There was so much self development. They flew me out to Boston, Dallas, California, Atlanta, just to talk to individuals that were hungry, looking for a next step in their life. But it was all about building a team because you can go fast by yourself, but you can go further together. And that's one thing that I really picked up on there. And I'm super grateful to have experienced that in my life, 100% for sure.
Wow, it seems to me like that company really helped you. What did you say that the name was?
MTN, which stood for Make Them Notice.
Make them notice. Wow, it's true. But when you make people notice you, it could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, in life, there's always good and bad. You decide what you make out of it. There's always negative things in the world. There's always a negative outlook, but I try to be very open with my perspective, also on my perception, because life is whatever you make it believe. You can either view life in a negative or you can view life in a positive. And one of the strongest things I also got from that company was, so what, now what, right? Life is going to be negative. There's going to be curveballs. There's going to be bumps on the road. So what, now what? Nothing changes. You can't change what you can't control. So yeah, there's good and bad about making them notice, but so what now? What are you gonna do with it?
Yeah, right. So what now what? That's a good one too. Hey, you've never told me these things before.
We've never talked so fully in depth.
Oh, I'm gonna have to invite you more often so I can get more information out of you.
I try. Like a sponge, soaked in my brain. Some of it's a little rusty.
Some of it's a little rusty. It doesn't sound too rusty to me.
Yeah, haven't been in front of a camera in a while.
Oh, well, now you are. There you go. Now you got a whole 25 minutes with me here.
Yeah, for sure.
So let me tell you, I know that after that, you plateaued there as well because we all plateau. It's funny. I did an episode the other day where I said that I felt that I plateaued, right? Because in life, it doesn't matter where you are, even when you're a business owner, there it gets to a point where you're like, okay, like,
100%.
like I am not okay with this. Like, like I spoke about, like, to me, it was that I had closed my life into one circle.
Mhm.
And I was only willing to help people in one circle. And I coached over 250 people. I've helped over 250 people. However, I I kind of like doubted and I was afraid, right? Because I was afraid to get out of that circle because I felt protected in it. And but I felt that I had to overcome the fear of fame, which is everybody's fear of fame, fear of what they're gonna say, fear how you're gonna feel, the fear.
Right.
Again, that's what keeps people back. But I felt that I plateaued. I was like, that's it. Like, I don't feel that this is fulfilling me anymore. And that made me take the leap of faith of opening this space to help others, change others' lives, and everything else that I'm doing. So I know that you told me you plateaued there as well. And then tell me, then what happened?
I wouldn't call it so much a plateau. I would say it's being comfortable. And that's the worst place to sit in. A gray line, right? Where you're comfortable. You're good. Some days you can chill and still be good. And yeah, I mean, the most growth comes from when you're uncomfortable. And I give you the most credit into what we're doing here, to what you've launched, because to the average person, this is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to be with lights. It's uncomfortable to be in front of a mic. It's uncomfortable to be in front of a camera. But that's where you grow the most. And that's where you realize the most growth, progression. You realize more about yourself when you're uncomfortable, right? And I felt comfortable at where I was at. The money was good, but now I was looking for the next step. And, there was you know, a couple delays. There was a couple struggles in that process that I had to go through as a human being. And one thing that I heard from Eric Thomas was, God doesn't only order your steps, but he orders your stops. And I feel like in that moment, God gave me a stop that I needed. I needed to go through a hardship in order to get to the next level. And that's kind of what happened. I went through a hardship and it built me as a person, because men and women are all built on their hardships, and that's kind of what life is, and that's kind of what you inspire people is their story, their hardships. And I realized I was in a moment where this might be hard, but I know it's going to give me something more, right? So God didn't just order my steps, He ordered my stops. And I'm super grateful and introduced me into something that I always wanted, which was real estate in a way, right? Some form or shape of real estate. And I went into mortgage lending, zero mortgage experience. I didn't know what Fannie Mae, what Freddie Mac was. I didn't know what any of that was. I just walked in with an open mind and grateful for another opportunity and stepped into that with open eyes, clear heart, and still currently in it right now. 80 mortgage, number one non-QM lender, top five conventional lender. And that's kind of what I'm striving for now. The money was great, but now making great money, have a lot of time and working with a company that wants to grow and take it to the next level. And that's the best position that you could be in. A company that's hungry also, that shares your vision and wants to take it to the next level.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you, but thank you for congratulating me. And yes, you're right. Um, and since you said that, I'll say it. It has been hard. Um, this growth has been hard. And along the way, I've lost people. I've doubted myself. Um, I've had my moments, but yes, it's hard, but it's not impossible. And that's one thing that I'm sure that you know. So I want to thank you, for saying
Of
that.
course.
But yeah, it's been hard. It's been hard, and like I say, people sometimes they don't want to see you shine. They don't want to see you shine more than them. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're okay with seeing you're good. I'm okay with seeing that you're good, but you can't be better than me.
Yeah,
And
100%.
that's very
And that's falls into who you surround yourself with, right? Your environment plays a huge role into your life and to your success because you start to you think in your mind you have these people that are close to you and you're like, these people never do this to me, these people won't envy me. But surprisingly enough, it's sometimes the people that are closest to you that sometimes don't want to see you win because even though they know that you're gifted, they can be just slightly a little bit envious into the fact that you can do something that they can't.
the problem is not that you could do something that they can't. It's that you're willing to take steps that they're not willing to take.
It's true because you're willing to be more comfortable than they are.
Exactly. So that's where it kicks in. It's not that they can't do it. They can do the same thing, but they're not willing to put in the work. They're not willing to put in the sacrifice, and they're not willing to face their fears.
100%.
And that's where it kicks in. And then that's when the envy and everything else. But listen, if you're not envied and if you're not talked about, then you're not doing nothing right.
Yeah.
So I mean it's okay. And growth comes with all of that. With all of that.
100%. But environment's still also a very,
Oh my
very
God, absolutely.
important thing.
I'm gonna tell you something I'm sure that they told you when you were little. Dime con quién anda y te diré quién tú eres.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, if you're surrounded by six ducks, I bet I spot the seventh one. You're gonna be there too.
Exactly, because it's the truth. You have to surround yourself with the correct people. Because when you don't, I mean, that can take your life in either a positive or a negative. And that is the truth. Like I've always said that to my kids. And I mean, I thank God my kids are great. They really haven't given me a hard time at all. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Like I have three wonderful kids. I am more than blessed. But I was always very picky about that. And I always, sometimes they got mad at me, especially the girl. She will get more mad at me because, another thing that I say, sometimes people misinterpret me because I say how it is. Whether you like me or you don't, I'm going to tell you what it is. But absolutely, that's why I was always so picky about who my kids hung around with and what they did and where they went. And again, they're not perfect. I'm not saying they haven't done bad things. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that they've been pretty disciplined about choosing the correct people and surrounding themselves. And they notice. And now that they're older, they notice a little bit more. So I'm glad that you think like that because that's very, very important.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can tell you my five closest friends, and we've been together since we were 10, 12, 11 years old, but there's a reason. It's not that they're the only five people that I know. I know hundreds, 200s of people that are friends, acquaintances, and there's nothing wrong with them. It's just I choose to surround myself that have the same vision, want the same things, because that's going to help you in life also when maybe you're having a bad day, but you know the person next to you wants more. And they remind you every day. You know, it's, hey, I thought you wanted to be great. Why are you being good today? And those are the people that you need to surround yourself with, because if you're okay with somebody just being complacent in life, then you'll never notice that when you're falling back. And life is all about momentum. And momentum is one of the things that helps me in my everyday life, because momentum is super hard to get. But once you have it, you're unstoppable. And it's a lot to get momentum, but once you break it down, it's little wins every single day, whether it's making your bed, whether it's brushing your teeth, I hope everybody does. Um, but making your bed, getting up early, you know, following a routine, writing down your goals, doing a prayer in the morning, saying three things that you're grateful for, going for a run, going to the gym. Just constant momentum will get you to your goals a lot faster than people realize. And the worst thing is when people do something, and you see it all the time when they go to the gym, start of the year, January, they go to the gym 2 weeks, they're building their momentum, and then they take a week break. And every time you stop, you actually set yourself 2 weeks back. And that's one of the hardest things. And that's where discipline comes into play. And that's one of the things, most successful people are no different than the average human being. They're just a lot more disciplined and have a lot more belief than the next person, you know? Yeah, you're right. Then, but momentum is hard to keep up with sometimes. And everyday life is hard. It's hard sometimes. And again, that's where the discipline kicks in. That's when everything just, you know, gets together, and and also believing in yourself. It's true. I tell people you have to believe in yourself. It's true. But David Goggins says choose your heart. Is it hard to wake up in the morning? Sure. But it's harder. We sometimes take a lot of our life for granted. Like we live in Miami, Florida. We can be in Idaho in the snow or something. Oh my God, you can imagine. Like choose your heart. We wake up, oh, it's super hot. I mean, it can be snowing. My cousin's in Missouri right now. Her car is filled with snow to the top. Could you imagine that? Let's go check out the snow in the morning. I mean, that would be horrible. It'll be the first workout in the morning with a shovel just piling, but by the time you're done doing that, you don't even want to go to the gym anymore. I think you already did your workout. There we go. Joe, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? In the next 5 years, I'll be what? 30 years old? By 30 years old, I always said that I'll be self-employed, right? Right now, I do work in mortgage lending. I'm working something behind the scenes where becoming kind of an automated trader, working in the stock market, investing, working with a group called Skylit, where we're implementing a system to to outplay the market, which is retail, because obviously the stock market is manipulated. There's liquidity. It's a whole different thing that you can spiral into when you understand it. But just becoming an everyday trader and working on that. So in 5 years, I see myself going full-time trading. You know, starting a couple other businesses on the side, but hopefully with your daughters, going to the islands. That's kind of what the next 3 years look like. But we come back, where I see myself the next 5 years is having a wife that's a doctor, building my own business, growing a family. It's kind of where the next 5 years go. Joel, I have not ever teared up on one of my podcasts. Like, stop it. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being such an amazing young man, for everything that you give to my family as such an amazing human that you are, in and out. I want you to know I'm extremely proud of you. I can't wait to see you shine, and to see all of your dreams come true. I want to thank you for coming on here, and I just want one more thing from you. If there's one advice that you can give to a young
man or lady out there that's struggling within their own thoughts, that's doubting themselves, what would that be?
What it would be is don't be afraid to fail. Look at failing as a good thing. Try to find what you're passionate for and always fail upwards. And what I mean by that is a lot of people fail downwards. They fail at one thing and they keep themselves in a stuck place of I couldn't do it. And it's a quote that I live by. The man who says they can and the man who says they can't are both usually right. You should always believe in what you do, find what you're passionate about, and keep continuing to fail up. You'll fail 6 or 7 times before succeed the one time, but it'll all be worth it at the end because once you make it, everything that you went through doesn't matter. You live in your everyday moment, you live in the present. So don't be afraid to fail upwards, take as many chances as you can because you'll regret it later if you don't.
You're right. You're right. Sometimes people tell me you're not scared to keep trying new things and to keep going. And what else do you want? You know, you guys made it this far. You've done this. You've done that. And I'm like, no, I got to keep going because I feel it that I am not yet where I need to be. I believe that I came to do something else. I have a calling. I have a calling, and I'm not gonna stop until I make it there.
Of course.
So I want to thank you again for being a guest.
Well, thank you for having me on here. This was fun.
No, it was great. It was great. I know you were a little nervous, but right, it ended up being pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
I told you it wasn't too bad. Well, thank you again for watching another episode of Built for Legacy. Don't forget to hit like, to subscribe, and to follow me on social media. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.